So how did you learn all this stuff?
I was taught. My father was a huge influence, my grandparents as well, because how they were treated in their respective industries. But I had some influences, if I may. I'm a huge fan of Basil Rathbone, who was Sherlock Holmes with Nigel Bruce. I thought he was phenomenal in regards to his rhetorical delivery. And then I was very much into Jeremy Brett, that did another Sherlock Holmes series back in the 80s. And he was just, his delivery was excellent. I was mentioning Pierce Brosnan as Remington Steele and Dirk Benedict as Templeton Peck in the A-Team. So I gravitated more towards the tongue instead of the brawn. I always thought that glib speakers that were clever, that didn't lie, but had really good arguments with colorful language, were incredible. And so what I would do is I would stop a lot of these shows, write it down, maybe even sometimes look up words. And in college, I did a lot of just public speaking. I was an intern for Telemundo for 2 years. My senior and super senior year, I did 5 years. I interned for Telemundo. I gave 20 hours a week. I was influenced by Miguel Quintana, who was the newscaster in Los Angeles, and a gentleman by the name of Pedro Sefsek, who had a talk show against Univision out of Florida. And these gentlemen, we would visit Tucson when I had the opportunity from Jay Cohen that allowed me to be an intern. And I would go out and do public promotions and public relations with them in English and Spanish. And so they allowed me to hone my skills and watch and learn from extremely accomplished professionals in not my native tongue. But you know what it was, Miss Liz, the way that they reacted to the people. They were hugging, taking pictures, autographs, but it wasn't that. They were talking for like 10 minutes. And they were talking about things they had in common, the food, the family, the grandparents, where they've traveled. It was almost like their family. And I realized that the Latino culture has something so in common that these individuals, they almost were starting off on third base. And if I could tap into that by learning these cultures, by showing good faith, learning second languages, I might be able to get a tenth of that sort of momentum and possibly get a career from that. I know we go off on so many tangents, but hopefully I was able to answer that question for you.
Oh, no.